Welcome to Classified Captures.
Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from evidence of conspiracies you never heard of to clips of cryptids you never even knew were out there. Ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive right in. We start today's episode with this video clip from a small town in Brazil that's had the whole paranormal community talking. Pulled from a CCTV cam, what the clip shows is anything but ordinary. In the clip, we see a mysterious blue light that suddenly appears and hovers about 10 feet from the ground. It glows and drifts slowly and silently. You don't need to be a genius to figure this does not belong to our world. Naturally, the individual whose CCTV camera captured this was stunned and sought the esteemed opinions of members of the paranormal community. Many agreed it was foreign, probably otherworldly, but that's as far as the agreement went. Some saw alien tech at work, others saw demons trying to manifest in our realms, whereas a few also saw this as a poor attempt at misleading the mass with CGI. You've seen the clip, so what do you think? Ever since the Matrix movie gave people the idea we could be trapped in a fake reality, people have been documenting strange events that they believe are glitches in the Matrix. While this may sound funny, there are some that are just too wild to ignore. Take this case for example. A man was walking along the road when he saw a woman up ahead. Sounds or looks pretty normal, right? Well, take a second look. She looks completely frozen mid-step. She was just stuck there in the middle of walking. Then, after a few seconds, she suddenly starts moving again like nothing's ever happened. The man was so shocked that he recorded and shared it online. Some viewers called it a classic glitch in the Matrix, but skeptics say it could just be edited footage or a staged scene. While staged sounds like the easiest explanation for the whole thing, easy isn't always truth now, is it? Two men from Australia caught something so bizarre that the internet hasn't stopped talking about it since the image went viral. What they pulled out of the water was a massive silver-colored fish, so unusual that it sparked a wave of debate online. Some say it's an oarfish, others think it looks more like a giant seahorse, but the truth is it doesn't quite fit that bill either. Now, if it's not an oarfish, things get a little spooky. In a lot of cultures, especially in Japan and across the Pacific, the oarfish is seen as a doomfish. There's this old belief that when one shows up, it's a sign something big and bad is about to happen, like an earthquake or a tsunami. So naturally, people are uneasy. Could this strange catch be a warning? Should Australia be bracing for something, or is it just a red, deep-sea creature popping out of nowhere?
Ahí está. Qué fácil largo, boludo. Ay, la concha de la lora. Ay, la puta que te parió.
Next, we got a story from two nurses who had a chilling encounter during a night shift at a children's hospital. One they say they will never forget. It all started with strange noises echoing through the hallways. At first, they assumed it was just some restless patients. But then they saw something odd. A red balloon slowly gliding down the hallway toward them.
La pibita de la camacita me dijo que le tocaron la pierna, que le apretaron la pierna. Ay, mierda, se viene para acá.
Already unsettled, the nurses ducked into the office to get away from it, but to their surprise, the balloon followed them inside.
Sí, creo que sí. No, me fui la mierda, la concha de la lora. Ahí está. Qué fácil largo, boludo. Ay, la concha de la lora. Ay, la puta que te parió.
And then it got even weirder. One nurse said the balloon had come from a completely different floor. Another shared that a young patient claimed someone touched her leg, even though no one was there. In children's hospitals, balloons are usually cheerful gifts from family and friends, but this one did not feel cheerful at all. It felt like a sign, maybe even a presence. Some now believe the red balloon could be connected to the spirit of a child who once stayed in the hospital and never truly left. There's no way to prove it, but that's the only idea they have.
¿Qué sé yo? Sí, creo que sí. No, me fui la mierda, la concha de la lora. Ahí está. Que pase largo, boludo.
¿Ves?
Ay, la concha de la lora. ¡Ay, la puta que te parió!
Have you ever gone into the woods and found trees ripped from the ground or broken without a storm or any logical reason you can come up with? If you have, then this is for you. Members of the paranormal community believe that if you ever see this, it's simply because Bigfoot is nearby. A couple driving through a remote road in the woods of Oregon stumbled upon something that perfectly fits that pattern. We all know that Oregon is no stranger to Bigfoot sightings. It's considered one of the biggest hotspots for strange activity in the forests. But what they saw on this day was beyond strange. Right in the middle of the road, blocking the entire path, stood a massive tree. But this wasn't just any tree that had fallen over. It looked like it had been yanked up from the roots alongside the road, flipping completely upside down and somehow driven deep into the ground right in the center of the road. As the woman filmed, you can see her husband climb onto it, and it didn't budge. Whatever put it there made sure it was solid. It's something no human group of humans or even heavy machinery could have done easily. Many believe it could be Bigfoot marking that territory or sending warnings. Others also think it might have been lightning, but what do you think? In Jerusalem, there's a sacred site where worshippers gather to pray. They light their candles and take part in ancient rituals. One of the most mysterious things captured on camera at this holy place is this man holding flames directly to his face, but he doesn't flinch and his beard does not catch fire. In another clip, this woman does the same thing, pressing the flaming candle all over her face, and again nothing happens. No burns, no pain. So how is this even possible? According to the believers, this happens during the annual Holy Fire Ceremony, which commemorates the resurrection. They say the Holy Spirit descends into the room, and during the moment, the fire becomes harmless to the faithful. It's believed to be a divine sign. But is it really a miracle, or is there science behind it? One commenter offered an interesting explanation. He suggested that we might be seeing is a phenomenon known as cold fire, or more technically, chemiluminescence. Yes, chemiluminescence. I believe me when I say I got it on my 1000th try. Anyway, if you're wondering what that is, it's a type of flame created through a chemical reaction. It gives off light and looks like fire, but doesn't produce intense heat. Given the fact that the fire isn't burning them, the commenter believes that that's what we are seeing. It sounds logical, but what if he's wrong? What if it's just ordinary fire not harming them because they're faithful and devout worshippers? Think about it. Or better still, let's plan a trip there next year to test it out. I know Julius won't come out unscathed if he ever tried it. A family had been dealing with things no one could explain, objects moving on their own, strange noises echoing through the house at night, and that unsettling feeling of constantly being watched. Convinced something paranormal was at play, maybe even a poltergeist, they decided to set up cameras around the house to catch whatever was behind the chaos. What they captured left them completely rattled. In the footage, something strange darts across the room. When they slowed it down, things got even weirder. It looks like a human-shaped figure sprinting through the house, but it had no head, just a full body, blurry and distorted, moving way too fast to be normal. Still skeptical, they ran the clip through a few filters to bring out more detail, and there it was again, clearer this time. A shadowy, headless figure moving through their home like it belonged there. That no one in the family could explain it. They still don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it hasn't left, and it doesn't seem shy.
Ness. How the hell do you pronounce that?
A cleaning crew was called in to tidy up an old, empty building. You know, the kind with dusty floors, flickering lights, and that weird, heavy silence that somehow feels louder than noise. As they were sweeping the hallway and casually chatting, they heard a strange sound coming from deeper down the corridor. At first, they shrugged it off. Old buildings make noises, right? But then it happened again, louder this time. Something clattered. That's when the panic set in and the entire crew bolted, sprinting down the hallway and out of the building without looking back. But here's where things take a creepy turn. After the crew had left, the building manager decided to review the security footage from that day, and what they saw was chilling. In the exact area the crew had been cleaning, right over the thin layer of undisturbed dust on the floor, a set of barefoot prints appeared, clear as day. Human footprints, calmly walking away from where the sound had come from. No one had been barefoot in that building, absolutely no one. Unsurprisingly, the cleaning crew, being aware of the weird occurrences, refused to come back, and honestly, can you blame them? I mean, would you? Personally, I'd get the hell out of there.
Or the vegan cheese.
Or the vegan cheese. That would be...
I'm not the only one that heard that.
Well, there was this one time when I was in the hallway and
Get the f*** up!
One of the most obvious goals for the future of money is to go completely cashless. No more carrying wallets or fumbling for change. Just scan and you're done. Sounds convenient, right? But how close are we to that becoming an everyday reality? Well, maybe closer than you think. A man visited a store and came across a strange machine with a message that read, "Pay with your palm." Yeah, you heard that right. No card, no phone, no cash. Now, as fascinating as that sounds, it's also a little bit alarming. If these scanners are using our palm prints as our biometric data to identify us and access our accounts, doesn't that mean someone could potentially take money from us without our permission if the system is ever compromised? I won't pretend to understand the technologies of the whole thing, but just think about it. Once our bodies become the password, what happens if that data gets into the wrong hands? Convenience always comes at a price, so how much are we willing to give up?
Hey, check this out. Do y'all know what this right here is? Pay with your palm. That looks like it's pretty cool, huh? I mean, I think it'd be pretty neat if we could all just pay with our palm. You wouldn't have to carry around any kind of hard wallet or anything.
The photo you're looking at is not a movie scene or an art piece. In 2020, something happened in the Netherlands that looked straight out of a dream or maybe a strange modern art installation. A tram failed to stop in time at the end of its elevated track in the city of Spijkenisse. Personally, I can't pronounce it, but Spijkenisse, Spijkenisse, I'm guessing. It smashed through the emergency barrier and was expected to plunge to the ground below, but it didn't. Instead, the train was caught mid-air, suspended on the tail of a giant whale. Not a real whale, of course, but an enormous sculpture titled Saved by the Whale's Tail. It had been installed years earlier as a piece of public art at the end of the tracks, never intended to save anything. But on that day, it did exactly that. The back of the train came to rest perfectly atop the whale's tail, balancing there like some bizarre urban balancing act. No one was seriously hurt, but the train operator managed to get out safely. People were stunned. Photos of the scene quickly went viral, with many calling it a modern miracle or proof that art can save lives. Who would have thought that a sculpture could become an accidental superhero? A man went out in the woods one day just to explore when he stumbled across something strange. It was a small hole in the ground. It wasn't big enough for him to crawl into, but it was deep, too deep to see the bottom with just his eyes or even his hand. So he got creative. He tied a GoPro to a string, lowered it slowly into the hole, and hit record to see what might be down there. But what he captured shook him. As the camera descended, it revealed that the hole didn't just drop off, it led into what looked like an underground cave system. Dark, narrow, and eerily quiet at first, but as the camera reached the bottom and came to rest on a patch of dirt, the real chills began. The audio picked up something faint at first, then unmistakable. A deep, slow breathing, heavy, steady, and slow. It wasn't just wind or echoes, it sounded alive, like something sleeping. The footage spread quickly online, and with it came the theories. Some say it was probably just a bear in hibernation, but others are convinced it was Bigfoot sleeping. So what do you think was down there? This next one was shared by a woman on social media. She and her family had just moved into a new home. Things were still a little messy inside, and they were in the middle of unpacking boxes and clothes everywhere. On one of the first nights there, her son woke up in the middle of the night and started walking through the hallway. When he came to the master bedroom, it was wide open, and that's when he saw it. A transparent figure was standing right there in the doorway, arms stretched wide open. It looked like it was wearing a white robe, but it was hard to tell if it was a man or a woman. The most chilling part is he had heard strange noises coming from the master bedroom and went to check it out, only to find this standing there. If you look closely at the room in the video, you'll see the clutter, boxes, scattered clothes, and the usual mess of moving in. But your eyes keep going back to the ghostly figure. It wasn't just a trick of the light, it was there, clear as day. Now, she started to wonder if her family are the only ones living in that house, because this might not just be a one-time sighting. Someone came across this creature one night, perched in a tree, and it completely threw them off. It was a massive, gigantic insect. It had transparent wings with a distinct, patterned texture, and its thick legs and bulky body made it look even more intimidating. At first glance, it looked almost otherworldly. So what insect is this? Well, it's a Dobson fly. Dobson flies might not be well known, but they can grow to impressive sizes, some of them with wingspans reaching up to 5 inches. The males often have long, tusk-like mandibles, while the females have powerful jaws that can deliver a pretty sharp bite if threatened. Despite their intimidating appearance, they're not dangerous to humans. They're more of a creepy curiosity, one of those creatures that reminds you just how wild and strange nature can be. There's been a lot of conspiracy surrounding Antarctica over the years. Everything from zombies to aliens, hidden portals, and even entire lost civilizations, and to be honest, it's easy to see why. The place is constantly wrapped in secrecy, and very few people ever get to see what's happening beyond those frozen barriers. I came across a collection of strange clips that are said to have been taken from behind the ice wall. These are videos of bizarre creatures allegedly found in the remote, untouched regions of Antarctica, and let me just say, they don't look like anything we're used to. The first clip shows something that looks like a stick-like creature, but it moves with a jelly-like wobble. It appears slimy and stretchy, almost like it's melting, but it doesn't walk. It glides or pulses forward like it's regenerating with every move. Then there's this black goo-like organism. Someone pokes at it with a tool, and at first it just squishes around, but then it moves on its own like it's alive. Next, there's this otherworldly form, which first looks like a group of grapes, but as the camera gets closer, you realize they're the heads of a single creature. One part even opens its mouth when touched. And finally, there's this strange, shaped creature swimming deep beneath the ocean. It doesn't look like anything that I've ever known. So do you think these things come from Antarctica? Because if even a fraction of these sightings are real, well,
That maybe, just maybe, some of these theories aren't so wild after all.
The same cabinet. Watch.
we've got another chilling piece of footage from what looks like a seriously haunted house situation. This time, the family who lived there had already been experiencing strange events for a while, so they finally decided to move out, but before leaving, they started documenting the activity in hopes of capturing some proof of what they were dealing with. In the first clip, one of the residents is lying in the living room casually playing a game. At one point, he whistles, and that's when things get weird. The camera captures one of the kitchen cabinets flying open on its own right after the whistle. In the next piece of footage, there's a similar encounter. This time, the door to one of the bedrooms opens slowly, even though no one's around. The person filming walks in and turns on the lights just to show that the room is completely empty. Whistling at night is considered a bad idea in many cultures. It's said to attract spirits or invite unwanted entities into your space, especially if you do it after dark. So, was the house already infested with spirits, or did the whistling make things worse? Either way, the energy in that place feels off, and if these clips are real, this house might not be empty even after the family moved out.
There's nobody in here. You guys, if you don't believe me, there's nobody in here.
If you thought that was wild, take a look at this recently shared strange piece of footage they caught while driving through a desert-like area. The road was quiet, the skies mostly clear, until they noticed something unusual off in the distance. Floating high up in the sky was this dark, swirling column. It looked almost like a tornado, but something felt off about it. For one, it was pitch black, darker than the clouds around it, and more importantly, it wasn't touching the ground or behaving like a normal weather phenomenon. It just hovered there, twisting slowly in place. Has anyone seen a black tornado before? Because if not, then this raises some eyebrows. It wasn't shaped like smoke, didn't move like wind, and didn't look like any natural storm formation. So what was it? Some are saying it might be a portal, others think it's a camouflaged aircraft or even a UFO trying to mimic a natural phenomenon. And then, of course, there are the more paranormal theories like a sky entity or a dimensional rift. Whatever it was, it looked out of place and it left the person filming both fascinated and slightly freaked out. What do you think this strange black twister in the sky could really be? A mother had just put her baby to sleep and gone to bed herself. But sometime, deep in the night, she was jolted awake by the sound of her baby crying. Thinking it was just a normal fussy moment, she grabbed her phone to check the baby monitor, but what she saw on the screen sent chills down her spine. As the baby moved slightly in the crib, a hand suddenly reached into the crib from the darkness beside it, paused for a moment, and then quickly pulled back. The mother froze. There was no one else supposed to be in the room. The crib was pushed against the wall, and yet there it was, a hand clear as day reaching toward her child. What makes it even more unsettling is that the baby seemed to notice it too. You can see the child turn its head and look in the exact direction the hand came from, as if it felt the presence before it even saw it. But what could it have seen? There was no sign of anyone else in the house, no intruder, nothing on the baby monitor before or after the moment, just the eerie hand reaching out of the shadows and disappearing again. Some believe it could be a glitch, but many are convinced this was something else entirely, say a spirit, guardian, or even something much darker. What do you think reached into that crib? We've seen a lot of robots being deployed around the world recently, with different countries introducing high-tech solutions for everything from delivery to security. But during Thailand's 2025 National Festival, something new showed up. Thailand's first ever robot police officer. The authorities unveiled what they're calling AI Police Cyborg 1.0, and it's officially part of the Thai Royal Police. This robot cop isn't just for show either. It's equipped with facial recognition technology, license plate scanning, and behavior analysis software. It can monitor large crowds, detect suspicious activity, and even communicate basic instructions to the public. It's designed to work alongside human officers, not replace them, at least for now, but to make the job more efficient and help with security during large events and emergencies. It's kind of surreal seeing something like this in real life. Almost feels like we're stepping right into a sci-fi movie, but this is the world we're living in now. What do you think about robot cops like this? If this next clip proves anything, it's that parents should always keep an eye on their kids, even when they think they're alone. Yeah, I know that sounds a little contradictory, but trust me, once you see the footage, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Pay close attention. A couple have been going through footage from their baby monitor when they spotted something that left them completely shaken. It showed their toddler sitting calmly on the floor playing with a toy. At first, everything seemed normal until the chair suddenly flew away from the child as if pushed by an unseen force. But what's even more unsettling is that the baby didn't even react. He just kept sitting there, still playing, eyes fixed on something in the corner of the room that wasn't visible on camera. Then the lights flickered on and off by themselves. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, something violently shoved the baby, knocking him down to the floor. It was aggressive. Luckily, the floor had a soft carpet and the little one was able to roll and sit up again. When the parents saw the footage, they were terrified. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't just messing around. It looked like something was bullying their child. There are tons of old stories and lore about spirits or entities being drawn to babies. Some say they try to play with them, others say they try to harm them. So what do you think was in that room? By now, you've probably seen those viral videos going around, the ones where people wear this strange little device on their temple. The moment it clicks on, their eyes glaze over white and their body just slouches like they've completely checked out. According to the posts, the device supposedly transports the person into a virtual reality that takes over their mind completely. We've touched on this in previous videos, and just to clarify, it's not real. The whole setup was actually a promo stunt for a Black Mirror episode. Yep, total marketing move. But let's be honest, doesn't it make you think about how close we actually are to something like this being real? With how fast technology is evolving, brain-computer interfaces, neural implants, and full-dive VR, it's not that far-fetched. Sure, we're not quite there yet, but give it a few more years. It's kind of terrifying and, a bit fascinating at the same time. So if a device like this did exist, would you try it? How is this even possible? An anonymous user shared this video that's been blowing people's minds, and yes, that's a fish in an aquarium with a massive chunk bitten right out of its back. But here's the wild part, it's still alive and swimming around like nothing happened. Naturally, the internet went into full meltdown mode, the people calling it a zombie fish and questioning if the video was even real. But don't worry, this isn't the start of some underwater horror movie. The truth is that most of the fish's vital organs are actually located in the lower part of their body. So in rare cases like this, if the spine and key systems aren't damaged, they can survive pretty intense injuries and even start to heal over time. It's honestly kind of amazing how resilient some animals can be, so no, this isn't a zombie fish, just nature being wild and kind of incredible. Some medics were casually hanging out, just chatting and unwinding. It was a cool hangout with nothing out of the ordinary. Some of them had their phone out, recording a short video of a woman sitting nearby. Everything seemed totally normal until something moved. In the background, through the glass panel on the door behind her, a shadow figure glided past, quick but undeniably human-shaped. It wasn't a reflection or it wasn't a glitch, it was just there. Naturally, the person holding the camera stopped recording and walked over to check it out. Maybe it was a coworker, maybe someone was just passing by, but when they opened the door, the room was completely empty. No one was inside, no footsteps, no sound, just stillness. Now, hospitals already carry a heavy atmosphere. The quiet, the low lights, the way emotions seem to hang in the air like fog. It's no wonder they're often considered magnets for the unexplained. So, was it a ghost? A residual spirit tied to the space? Or something else entirely? We may never know for sure, but the shadow figure or whatever it was definitely left more questions than answers. What do you think? Coincidence? Or something that wasn't supposed to be there? What is this thing? It looks like some kind of spider-scorpion hybrid, right? Someone had this creature crawling in the palm of their hand, and while it looked seriously dangerous, well, it turns out it's not. This is what's known as a camel spider, also called a wind scorpion or sun spider. Even though it's not technically a true spider or scorpion, they belong to a group called Solifugae. Despite their fierce appearance and crazy speed, camel spiders aren't venomous to humans. They're just built to look like desert monsters. They're fast, aggressive-looking, and with huge jaws that can give a painful bite, but nothing deadly. They live mostly in dry desert areas, are known for being fast hunters, and while they might look like they came out of a nightmare, they're mostly harmless to people. But I wouldn't want to wake up with one of those crawling on me. Would you? Here's one that'll give you chills. This photograph was taken by a paranormal investigator during a late-night tour of the notorious Newsham Park Asylum, a place already steeped in dark history and eerie tales. After the tour wrapped, the group gathered for a casual group photograph, just something to mark the experience. At first glance, everything looked normal, just a bunch of people standing around, tired but buzzing from the thrill. But when they looked at the photograph later, they saw her. In the back, barely noticeable at first, is the pale face of a woman. She's smiling almost too much. Her hair is wild, black, and tangled. She's dressed in dark clothes, standing just behind the others. But here's the thing, no one in the group remembered anyone like that being there. And when you look closer, she doesn't quite blend in. She's slightly out of focus, almost faded around the edges, like she doesn't belong in the same reality as everyone else. When the photo was shown to the group, every single person confirmed that she wasn't with them. So who was she? Some think it's one of the many spirits rumored to still walk the halls of the asylum. Others think it's just a trick of the eye or maybe just a prank. But if that's the case, why does a presence feel so wrong? Take a look and decide for yourself. Coincidence?
Camera glitch, or something that never truly left.
The Loch Ness Monster remains one of the most mysterious cryptids in the world, and every now and then something strange shows up to keep that legend alive. Recently, a group of people in India were near a large body of water when they spotted something unusual. Something massive was moving just beneath the surface, and from the looks of it, whatever it was huge. The water rippled and shifted around it, but no clear view of the creature ever emerged. Still, the shape, the size, and the movement all had the people asking the same question. Could this be the Loch Ness Monster? Now, the Loch Ness legend is usually tied to Scotland, but sightings of similar creatures have popped up all over the world. And if these stories are to be believed, then maybe Nessie or something like it isn't just a local legend, but a global mystery. So what do you think? Is it Nessie roaming new waters, or just another strange creature we haven't identified yet? Not everyone believes in ghosts or the supernatural, and honestly, if you're one of those people, take a look at this photo. It was taken back in 2015 at the Old Astry Church in Kent, England. The person who took the picture was visiting the church alone, just wandering through, snapping some photographs, when they later noticed this. There in one of the empty pews was what looked like a transparent figure. You can make out the face, a hand, and even what seems to be a dark robe draped over him. He's just sitting there. Some people who saw the photograph said it was a monk, but others disagreed. He didn't quite look like a monk, more like an ordinary man. But what's really chilling is how clear the figure is. It's not just a smudge, you can actually see him sitting there. The photo made the rounds back then and caught a lot of attention in paranormal circles. So if you're still on the fence about whether ghosts exist, this one might make you think twice. In this next footage, we have another eerie ghost encounter. This time it happened to someone who was out driving late at night. They had just made a turn on a quiet road when this happened. Out of nowhere, something appeared at the side of the road and ran across them right in front of the car before slowly vanishing into thin air. Take a closer look. It looked like a human, but made of white smoke, wearing a skirt. A lot of people who've seen this are saying it could be a residual ghost, a spirit stuck repeating the same moment over and over again. And honestly, there have been tons of similar encounters just like this that have led to accidents. Drivers think they're seeing a person running along the road. They panic, swerve, and crash. Luckily, the driver in this footage was calm and observant. They noticed the figure but didn't react too quickly, probably why they didn't end up in a wreck. So yeah, just a reminder, be extra alert when driving at night. You never know what you might run into or what might run into you. Some guys in Chicago stumbled across something that feels like it belongs in a movie, not real life. They were just walking along when they noticed a sewer cover sitting slightly off-center. Most people would have kept moving, but their curiosity got the better of them. They pried it open, probably expecting trash, maybe some runoff water, but what they found was something else entirely. Beneath the cover was a rusted, soaked metal staircase leading straight down into darkness, so naturally they followed it. The stairs twisted into a spiral, and the deeper they went, the less the city above felt real. Eventually, they merged into what looked like an old cave system hidden right beneath Chicago. The air was heavy, almost thick. The ground was covered in dust, and off to the side, half buried in the dirt, was an old rusted spade, just standing there like someone had stuck it in and walked away. But the detail that really sparked debate? Strange, faded markings on the walls and floors. Some said they looked like remnants of dynamite charges. Ever since, theories have been flying. Some say it's an old Prohibition-era smuggling tunnel, while others believe it's part of a long-forgotten military or government network. And then there are the wilder ones about secret societies, ancient structures, lost levels of the city no one's meant to find. Which of these theories are right? Well, the simple answer is we don't know, but whatever the case, it's clear that something strange is hidden beneath Chicago's streets. The question is, was this just an accidental discovery, or did they stumble onto a part of the city that was meant to stay buried? What do you think? Most of us use tap water at home every day for cooking, cleaning, and other domestic tasks without giving it too much thought. But did you know that chlorine, which is commonly used to treat tap water, can actually be harmful? Chlorine has been linked to various health concerns, including an increased risk of certain cancers and other long-term effects. But what's even more unsettling is how quickly it gets absorbed into our bodies. One woman did a simple but eye-opening experiment to show this. She filled 2 glasses with water from the same tap. In the first glass, she added a special liquid that reacts with chlorine, and instantly the water turned yellow, proving there was chlorine in it. Then, with the second glass, she dipped her finger into the water for just a few seconds. After that, she added the same test liquid, but this time the water stayed clear. Why? Because the chlorine had already been absorbed into her skin. It's a powerful demonstration that shows just how fast our body's taking chemicals from everyday sources, sometimes without us even realizing it. Kind of alarming, right?
Demonstration, we're going to show you how fast chlorine absorbs into your skin. They say that chlorine is proven to cause cancer. It also affects the endocrine system and also is the leading cause of asthma, eczema, psoriasis. So we want to eliminate chlorine. Now we're mimicking what happens in a shower or bath. Take out our hand, do the same exact test. And we're going to stir that up. Where's the chlorine? It's in my hand.
Someone recently shared a very intriguing take, and it's got us thinking. We've all heard of the mythical fountain of youth, right? But what if there's something real out there that could reverse aging? Way back in the day, there was a substance known as radium. At one point, it was used in fertilizers, and the results were wild. Crops reportedly grew 2 to 3 times their normal size. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Some pellets infused with what we now call harmful substances like manganese, cobalt, and others were once believed to hold healing properties. Despite being labeled dangerous, certain studies have suggested that small controlled amounts of these elements might do some good. For instance, research has shown that cobalt and manganese could play a role in reversing gray hair, so could this radium or something similar actually be our real-world fountain of youth? Of course, it's worth noting that radium itself was eventually found to be highly radioactive and dangerous with prolonged exposure, but the idea that certain elements, when used in the right way, could slow down or even reverse aspects of aging, well, that's definitely a rabbit hole worth diving into. What do you think? Is the secret to youthful aging hidden in forgotten science? A group of friends decided to visit a cemetery late at night. Already a bold move, but they weren't just there to explore. They came to film themselves performing a ritual. A candle was lit and carefully placed on the ground, and one of the girls sat quietly beside it while the others began to chant softly into the darkness. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but later when they watched the footage back, something chilling appeared just a few feet behind them. A figure in a white robe with long black hair moved silently across the frame. It didn't walk, it glided. No sound, no reaction from the group because no one saw it at that moment. The figure drifted by as if it belonged there or had been waiting. Naturally, panic set in once they saw it. Some people who have watched the clip think the ritual may have attracted a spirit, possibly someone buried there who was disturbed by the presence. Others claim it was all just a well-crafted hoax for views, but then again, if it was fake, why didn't anyone react on the spot? Why risk being that convincing in such a creepy setting? So the question remains, was it all staged, or did they unknowingly invite something ancient and unseen to step out of the shadows? You decide. A couple was out for a drive one night in Florida when a woman suddenly noticed something strange in the sky. Hovering above them was a dark, pill-shaped object, completely still and silent. It didn't have the usual blinking lights of a plane, and it wasn't moving like a drone, just hanging there. At this point, with all the strange sightings people have reported lately, the first thing that comes to mind is a UFO. And really, well, what else could it be? Some have argued that it could be some kind of secret military tech or drone, but I'm not sure why I'm convinced. It's basically a rogue UFO making itself known in the skies. Anyway, what do you think? A security camera in India recently captured what many are calling a real-life hero moment. A schoolboy was walking home through a flooded street after heavy rains. The water was everywhere, covering the road like a shallow river. As he waded through a puddle, he fell backwards into the water and began convulsing. It looked like he'd been electrocuted, possibly from a submerged live wire. Just then, a man riding by on a motorbike noticed what was happening, and without hesitation, he stopped, got off his bike, and made his way to help the boy. But he didn't just rush into the water blindly. Instead, he approached from the side, stepping carefully onto a dry patch of ground, using the dry, solid earth to ground himself. He managed to pull the boy out of the water without being electrocuted. That was a smart move that saved both their lives. He then carried the boy out and began helping him regain consciousness as more people rushed in to assist. This wasn't just a rescue, it was quick thinking, bravery, and a perfect example of how staying calm in a crisis can save a life. Here we go again, another strange sighting lighting up the sky, but this time it wasn't just an odd object drifting around, it was an entire group of glowing lights clustered together like they had a purpose. Someone happened to capture it on camera, and what makes it even more intriguing is the timing. It wasn't day and neither was it fully night. The sky had this strange in-between glow, and right on the horizon, there was this bright orange light that looked totally out of place, like something was brewing up there. The footage has already stirred up a storm online. Folks in the paranormal community are saying this could be a cluster of UFOs flying information, moving together, maybe even observing us. The glow, the symmetry, the atmosphere, it all feels too calculated to be random. But of course, skeptics aren't buying it. They think it's probably just a bunch of drones, maybe a light show, or some kind of tech test. Still, even the skeptics admit the whole thing felt off. The timing, the color of the sky, the way the lights moved, it didn't look like your usual tech at play. So what do you think? A routine drone display or something that wasn't meant to be seen? Still on the legendary Bigfoot, the topic that never fails to stir the imagination, let's venture into the snow-covered woods of Russia, where a family was in for a truly unexpected sight. Members of this family were simply driving along, minding their own business, following a snowstorm. After enduring something like that, they hoped for a smooth sailing to their next location, but their attention was abruptly drawn to something truly bizarre among the trees. What they beheld was nothing short of remarkable. A strange creature, towering at about 7 to 8 feet, draped in dark fur. It was a curious amalgamation of an ape and a human, but built like a bear. Yes, you guessed it, the one and only Bigfoot. Now, this family happened to be locals, and they were quick to note that there had never been any reports or sightings of this enigmatic creature in their area. So understandably, this was quite the unexpected circus show for them. You can almost feel their excitement and trepidation by the sheer commotion in the car as they gazed upon this strange being. Do you also believe we could be dealing with a Bigfoot, or do you think that they're simply reading too much into something they shouldn't? Share your thoughts in the comments section. This video, shot in broad daylight, features trees in a range of colorful leaves from green to yellow and some with brownish and orange hues, the obvious fall season vibes look. While on record mode, apparently on live television, the recorder's camera captures a ghostly apparition amid the woods in motion. Speculations flood the media, suggesting it might be a ghost sighting. What do you think this is? A possible glitch in the system, maybe? I don't know, but I think that's an authentic ghost sighting right there.
Sewage treatment plant behind us takes in the waste of 500,000 people, and when it can't cope with it, it chucks it straight out here. And in the marine life just beneath our feet, we're actually finding they're full of drugs. They're full of contraceptive pill, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication. Every single marine species that we've looked at so far is full of cocaine.
Recent findings from Langston, UK have revealed a concerning discovery. Experts conducting a series of tests on the fish found that they were all contaminated with cocaine. It's worrisome that all the marine life in the area, including the fish, have been affected by this issue. The root of the problem lies in the sewer that disposes of waste into the water bodies. Somehow, drugs are being transported in large quantities through the sewer, which is then concentrated in the water. The excessive presence of drugs in the water has led to the contamination of the entire marine ecosystem. This poses a serious threat to human health as well. One cannot help but wonder about the consequences of consuming the contaminated fish. The possibility of harmful effects on human health is high, and something that must be taken seriously. I tried to find this interview on mainstream news outlets and discovered other news articles which had similar information in the UK alone. This issue highlights the need for better waste management. As serious as the situation is, it was funny to find some jokes from some who watched the video. It's funny, but maybe they have a point, wouldn't you agree?
Sampling these marine species, and you're finding that what's in the sewage water ends up in those species.
Yeah, exactly. The drugs affect this wildlife in the same way that they do us.
Our next footage takes us all the way to Mexico, where some residents captured something rather odd and peculiar in their streets. The footage introduces us to a nighttime in the neighborhood. All things being equal, the streets should be quiet and empty. In the beginning, it appears that way. But take a closer look and you'll realize that there are two tiny creatures on the side of the road. One crosses to the opposite side and the other follows. At first, I thought they were little children, but I feel they're too small for that to be the case. Also, those filming won't have been enthused about little children. They're actually very convinced that they have captured a dwende. For those unfamiliar with the term, duendes are mythical creatures described as small, gnome-like beings with human features like pointy ears and wrinkled faces. They live in forests, mountains, and even homes. While they're mischievous, they're usually harmless, playing pranks on humans and hiding objects. While it would be nice to confidently state these are duendes, there's not a lot to go on over here. You guys see the clips too, so what do you think? This video showcases a specific patch of woods filled with trees, plants, and branches, all growing at different angles. The lush greenery highlights the beauty of nature. What makes this video intriguing is the slow, deliberate movement of the camera, which suddenly slows down and focuses on one single location. It zooms in for a closer inspection, and that's when we notice a figure moving in the light. It reveals the silhouette of an ape-like creature, but what this creature is up to remains unknown. It continues to move on one spot, then starts walking away out of sight as the camera switches to zooming out. Was that Bigfoot? If not, then what else could it be? In the next video clip, we see a strange bundle of leaves and tree trunks that could be mistaken for a giant spider's abode. Not long after, an elk with large, somewhat coiled antlers, known to have sharp hearing capabilities, comes into view, head down, possibly feeding on its morning nourishment. Our attention is drawn to a sudden movement in the spider-like abode where a figure seems to be glancing at the elk before swiftly disappearing out of camera sight. What could this other creature be? And how quiet is it for its presence and movements to not have riled up the elk to make a run for it? Strange. Now, if the idea of a zombie apocalypse didn't spook you, maybe this would. Imagine walking through an underground parking lot alone and coming across this, a road divider dragging itself across the floor. Seeing it reminds me of the video games where ghosts hide in everyday furniture and items to avoid detection.
Mira, coche tu madre. Lo mira acá a otro lado ahora, pues, weón. No, hijo de la perra.
How's this possible? Well, we can't say. While some in the original post wanted to believe it was nothing more than a prank, a number of them believed that there was some kind of supernatural force at work here. Having seen the clip yourself, what do you think might be the explanation for the situation here?
Lo mira acá a otro lado ahora, pues, weón. No, hijo de la perra.
Show you something that I don't know how to explain at all. Either the government is building something insane, or this is aliens.
Why? What is it?
You know Google Earth, right?
Yeah.
Do you have Google Earth on your phone?
Probably not, but I'm probably just gonna Google them.
Okay. Well, I will do it on my phone real quick.
You have Google
and I
Earth
will
on your
show
phone?
you. Yes.
I came across this interesting video on the various paranormal platforms on the internet. It's about a set of mysterious coordinates that led to some peculiar findings on Google Earth. Curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to investigate further. Inputting them into Google Earth led me to a desolate, sandy location which had an unusual object in the middle of it. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it appears to be guarded by military tanks. This piqued my interest even more, and I started to probe the internet trying to find out what it was. Some who had seen it stated that it was a black hole that goes deep into the ground. They also added that on the opposite side of the hole is the same shaped object on the sand. There were some who also stated it was a military base and nothing more. An example is this user here who stated it's a training camp that uses tanks as targets when they practice targets for airstrikes. This user, who apparently lived there for a while, supported the claim. There were some who thought it also looked too much like a spaceship to be anything otherwise. So now we have three hypotheses: portal, military base, and alien ship. Which do you think is more plausible? Now, you know there is no mystery without a Bigfoot sighting. The classic intrigue of the creature lurking amongst the trees, a scene that invariably summons thoughts of the legendary Bigfoot. Here we see a group of creatures that bear a resemblance to the enigmatic Bigfoot. But hold on, these appear decidedly smaller than the towering behemoths often associated with Bigfoot lore. Now this gives us room for speculation. Are these simply apes, perhaps unknown species like chimpanzee or gorillas roaming the woods, or could they be something altogether different? Juvenile Bigfoots in the making, exploring the world and learning the ways of their elusive kind. It's a tantalizing enigma that keeps us guessing. What say you? The intrigue of cryptids and their elusive nature continues to captivate. Let's dive into this peculiar footage that emerged on Instagram, courtesy of the user TheMovieGuy11 back in March of this year. The story unfolds with the claim that the footage initially captured two creatures in the distance along Yellowstone Creek. The first impression was that these were perhaps two bears taking a stroll. However, upon closer scrutiny, the plot thickened. Upon careful examination, it became clear that the pace and the sheer amount of ground these creatures covered couldn't possibly match that of even the speediest bear. This observation led to the compelling belief that what had been captured was, in fact, a sighting of Bigfoot. When you take a closer look at the size and picture of these mysterious beings, the image becomes even more enigmatic. They appear huge and are seemingly moving about on 2 feet, adding to the intrigue. Once the footage hit the internet, the response was nothing short of intriguing itself. A significant portion of viewers joined the chorus, believing that what they were witnessing was indeed Bigfoot. This notion isn't too surprising, given that Yellowstone Creek is a known hotspot for Bigfoot sightings, adding an extra layer of mystery to this already puzzling encounter. I've seen some pretty large animals in my day, but nothing could have prepared me for these horns. These have got to be some of the largest horns out there, and believe me when I say there are some species of cows or bulls that have such large horns. In fact, some cultures breed some of them purposely to show off their horns or see how big they can get. Now, you know there was no way today's episode was going to end without our bonus segment coming up, right? So could you find out what exact species this bull is and what country it comes from? If you believe you have the answer, you know what to do. Type it in the comments section with one unique fact about this big boy right here. Remember to start your comment with the word bonus. May the best human win. Next, we've got a clip someone sent in that he had allegedly recorded from the daily news in his region. Let's take a look at it together. What would you call this? Aaron, our conspiracy theorist, took one look at it and screamed, "A superbug." Now, when he said it, I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, the very idea of a superbug is amusing, but then again, you can't really blame him for thinking that, can you? I mean, look at the thing. Have you ever seen a bug that large? Now, I tried to do some research online to find if something like this has been reported in any part of the world, and try as I may, I found nothing. Naturally, I started to suspect this wasn't real. It definitely had to be a CGI creation, but then again, it could be the skeptic in me being loud. What do you guys think? The age-old fascination with the mysteries and unexplained continues even with this footage. In this footage captured in La Blanca, we are presented with a sight that's as perplexing as it is grand. As we gaze upon the scene, we're greeted by the sight of a colossal figure ascending a mountain. Its size alone, when viewed from this distance, is enough to let you know it's no small creature. Yet, here's the twist. It's a being so peculiar and elusive that it has left even the most inquisitive minds in a state of bewilderment. Could this be the stuff of legends, the Nephilim as mentioned in ancient texts like the Bible, or might it be something unique, something that escapes the boundaries of our known world? The enigma shrouding this entity adds yet another layer to the tapestry of unexplained phenomena that continues to intrigue and challenge our understanding of the world. Don't you think so? If you've made it this far and haven't hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment, could you do that before we go on? Thank you very much. It means a lot. Moving back to today's episode. In this video clip, an unknown person captures a figure atop the tallest tree in a grove of lush green trees. This figure is black in appearance, and the outline of the tree is clearly female. By the looks, she's also a grown woman. She appears to be completely fearless, perched atop the tallest tree in the area. But why? And how did she even get there? Is she really human or just a skinwalker posing as a woman who could care less about being seen by the rest of the world? Tell us what you think. In March, a homeowner shared rather interesting footage from a security camera they had installed in their backyard. The footage shows what looks like a ghostly figure grazing near a wall that had a dark object in front of it. Out of nowhere, an invisible creature about 3 to 4 feet tall walks in front of the black object on the ground. This creature had an obvious humanoid form and looked like it was made of smoke. The only reason we can see it is because of the contrast with the black object. As soon as it passes by the object, it vanishes in a thin air. The footage caused a frenzy among viewers in the paranormal community. Some believed that this was an alien creature walking around, while others thought it was some sort of ghost or spiritual entity. What do you think this could be? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Am I the only one seeing the strange-looking lizard? No, you can see it too. Oh, great. I'm not seeing things then. The big question now is, why does it look like that? If I had $1 anytime I asked that question on this channel, I'd be a millionaire by now. After doing some digging around and research, which mostly means asking Julius, it turns out that the chances of this critter being an alien creature accidentally left on our planet are incredibly low. Julius and the other science geniuses I interviewed stated that what we are seeing could be the result of a damaged egg or a set of twins that never truly separated or developed well. While that does seem very plausible and logical, I can't help but entertain the idea of it being an alien species. I know the chances of it being so are very slim, but look at it. Doesn't it look like some cute little alien creature? Anyway, have any of you encountered an animal with a similar condition? Let us know what species it was and how different it looked compared to the normal-looking critters in its species. I'll be reading the comments. In this video clip, an unknown person behind a red, black and white jet ski captures a life-changing moment. A sudden explosion on a waterborne structure while dangling waist down in the water. The explosion doesn't just impact one part of the structure, it spreads across both the water and the structure itself, creating a mix of colors from orange to red accompanied by smoke. This makes the recorder jump abruptly in search of cover in the water. Perhaps he didn't jump and was simply thrown off by the sheer force of the explosion. It's beyond frightening. What do you think could have caused this unfortunate event? Does anyone know where it happened? Were there losses of lives, including marine life? Please educate us in the comments section. Let's take a look at a hiking trip that truly etches itself into the annals of one's life. This particular adventure was embarked upon by a group of students, and little did they know they were in for an encounter they'd be discussing for years to come. As they journeyed through the wilderness, they happened upon a trail that led them to a part of the woods that seemed to carry an air of mystery. Why, you might ask? Well, it was there, high upon a mountain nearby, that they spotted a figure making its way downhill. Now, what made this figure truly remarkable was the fact that, despite walking on two legs, it possessed features that quite simply ruled out the possibility of it being human. For starters, it appeared rather substantial in size, definitely larger than your average person. And if you were to zoom in on the footage, you'd notice something rather peculiar, what seemed to be hair or perhaps fur covering its body. So, Bigfoot? Oh, obviously. As you can well imagine, this enigmatic encounter left the students in a state of fascination and wonder. No doubt they must regale the tale of this extraordinary sighting whenever they gather, forever etching it into the folklore of their lives. Everyone has accepted it as a Bigfoot, and we have too. What about you? That brings us to our next mystery. This was captured by a group of individuals who were exploring the woods and taking photos. It was through this adventure that they noticed something strange under a tree ahead of them. Curiosity got the better of them, and they cautiously approached the area. When they got closer, this is what they saw staring at them from the cover of the foliage. The creature was about 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders covered in fur, except for its shoulders and face, which were visible. His first thought was that it might be a bear, but when you look closely, you realize that this was not a bear, but rather a humanoid with a longer snout and pointed ears on its head. Fascinated and terrified, they took a picture as fast as they could and ran out of the area. Once they were home, they took the best-looking picture, which is what you see, and uploaded it. Everyone who saw it was convinced that it might be an actual dogman or potentially a werewolf. Looking at the image, I get why they might think that. The beast certainly has features that are befitting the description of the dogman, but due to the blurry nature of the footage, we can't fully confirm. Some say the blurred image is proof that it's fake, but could also be proof that this is real since, according to their story, they had to quickly take the picture and run out. If that alibi is to be believed, then it could have resulted in a blurry image like you see. But then again, this is the internet, so anything is possible. Imagine taking a stroll by the beach, enjoying the sea breeze through your hair and the wet sand under your feet. Suddenly, you come across a peculiar stone on the shore. Upon closer inspection, you realize that it's shaped like a face. What do you do in such a situation? Well, the person who came across this stone decided to touch it. The stone, however, came to life and snapped at the person's finger, after which it quickly sank back into the sea. Strange? Well, not really, especially if you know what this stone-faced thing truly is. It's apparently called a reef stonefish, and it's the most venomous fish. The reef stonefish is found in the shallow coastal waters of the Indo-Pacific region, particularly around coral reefs. It's known for its remarkable camouflage, blending in seamlessly with its surroundings due to its rough, wart-like skin and coloration resembling rocks or coral. Despite its unassuming appearance, the reef stonefish possesses potent venomous spines along its dorsal fin. These aren't just for decoration, as they're capable of delivering a painful and potentially lethal sting to unsuspecting predators or humans who accidentally step on it. The venom can cause excruciating pain, tissue damage, and in severe cases, paralysis or even death if not treated promptly. Reef stonefish are primarily ambush predators, lying in wait on the sea floor for prey to pass by before striking with lightning speed. Perhaps that might explain how it patiently waited for the young lad to get closer than launch. Someone in the comments section even asked what he expected. If there's a lesson to be learned here, it's that to not pick up any strange-looking stone at the beach, especially if you can't confirm if it's really a stone. In it, we see a paranormal enthusiast who was live streaming his stroll through Elms Grove Estates. As he ventured forth, he suddenly felt an eerie presence lingering behind him. You know, that unmistakable sensation of being watched. So without a second thought, he turned his camera to capture whatever might be lurking in the shadows, and what he discovered sent a shiver down his spine. There, concealed in the underbrush, was a creature, not your typical wildlife, but something otherworldly. The gentleman entertains the notion that it could be a skinwalker or even a dogman, and honestly, it's not an entirely far-fetched idea. The figure certainly has a human-like stance, but when you examine its upper half, it becomes abundantly clear that this is no ordinary human. Unless, of course, there's someone with a penchant for lurking in the bushes, indulging in a little late-night stalking. But given the circumstances, our team tends to lean toward the possibility that this man found himself in the presence of a paranormal entity. What about you? What do you think? As we delve into our next uncanny video, filmed in the dead of night, brace yourself for an unexpected twist. A luminous white light materializes out of nowhere. Upon closer scrutiny, this enigmatic apparition appears to possess legs and outstretched arms, striking a pose reminiscent of superheroes and villains taking off into the night sky. That's if you can call it that. Is this an omen, a harbinger of world-altering events? Could it be an angelic presence? And if so, why does it choose the Shroud of Darkness for its appearance? I invite you, our astute viewers, to share your speculations and insights in the comment section below. This mystery of the night awaits your discerning interpretations. Do you believe in the existence of ghosts? This is a question that has puzzled many for centuries. In those centuries, different individuals have come up with varying answers. Some believe that after we die, there might be a spirit version of ourselves that roams the earth when we have unfinished business. People share stories of seeing their loved ones after they've passed away, and some even report having encounters with other spirits. Recently, a surveillance camera captured something strange and inexplicable. In the footage, we see a man wearing a black jacket with pants walking down a deserted street. He seems to be holding something in his hands, and initially there's nothing out of the ordinary. However, as the footage progresses, it begins to get grainy and the man appears to be fading away. Within a matter of seconds, he vanishes into thin air. Could this be evidence of the existence of ghosts? While there's a possibility of this being edited footage, it's also worth considering the possibility that the man in the video could be a wandering soul unable to rest until his unfinished business is complete. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying the fascination and intrigue that surrounds the concept of life after death. Perhaps someday we'll find concrete evidence of what happens to us after we die, but until then, we can only speculate and wonder. The forest is a place of natural beauty and is home to a wide variety of flora and fauna. However, in recent times, people have reported seeing unusual and mysterious creatures lurking in the woods. These sightings make you question the existence of paranormal entities and even extraterrestrial life in our forests. Take this footage, for instance. A person was walking home through the forest when they spotted something moving in the darkness up ahead. As the creature emerged into the light, the person was left in awe. The creature was pure white, crouched on the ground, and had jet black eyes that seemed to pierce the darkness. The creature moved slowly, almost deliberately, and stared directly into the camera, as if it knew it was being filmed. What kind of creature was it? The one filming wasn't sure, and neither am I. It's certainly not an animal that we're familiar with, but its appearance and behavior were eerily humanoid yet animalistic. Many who saw the clip refused to believe this was an actual creature. One even mentioned that it looked like a Halloween costume he got for his daughter. We combed the internet trying to find evidence of the creature but found nothing. This does little to add to the skepticism and mystery surrounding the post. What do you guys think? As the days roll on, it seems the line between reality and mystery becomes ever more elusive. Let's delve into this rather perplexing situation captured by a vigilant driver. As he cruises down the road, his attention is drawn to something utterly bizarre: a burning bush. Naturally, he decides to halt and investigate, but here's where things get curious. As he steps away from the car window and moves closer to the bush, the flames seem to vanish into thin air. Poof! Just like that. Now, this is where the mystery deepens. He repeats this experiment several times, and each time the burning bush behaves as though it were an illusion. The burning, it's there, but then it's not. So what in the world could be happening here? Is it some kind of glitch in the matrix, a cleverly orchestrated hoax, or perhaps something that transcends the boundaries of human comprehension? Tell us what you think it is. A peculiar figure was recently observed appearing to traverse a metallic structure under the guidance of an illuminating source, all captured during the cover of the night. While the precise location remains shrouded in uncertainty, the setting bears a striking resemblance to a backyard encircled by thick clusters of trees. This enigmatic entity takes on a humanoid form distinctly discernible throughout its movement. However, its head defies convention, resembling an oversized light bulb affixed to its body. In an abrupt pause, it turns its attention toward the reporter, who could be heard inquiring about the purpose of this mysterious being. Could this be yet another instance in the ever-enigmatic world of cryptids? You tell us. It captures a disc-shaped craft in the sky floating over the ocean and near a forest. The craft just glided smoothly, its disc shape clearly visible against the backdrop of the horizon. Despite significant technological advancements over the years, we have yet to see a saucer-shaped craft like this in conventional aeronautics. Could this be genuine footage of a UFO? The clarity and distinct shape of the craft have certainly fueled speculation. While some might argue it's an elaborate hoax or a cleverly designed drone, others are convinced this is proof of extraterrestrial life. Share your thoughts on this. Let's take a look at this intriguing image captured by an astronomer. It shows a flash of what looks like fire over the moon, resembling some sort of explosion. Interestingly, the explosion didn't appear to hit the moon, but rather ignited just above the surface. People have made several observations about this phenomenon. The area where the explosion occurred looks dark, but there seems to be a crater there. Some theorize that this was a meteor or asteroid that hit the part of the moon where there was no light, creating the illusion of an explosion above the surface. However, there are others with their own unique takes. Some believe that a mysterious field around the moon caused the impact to occur in such a dramatic fashion. Others even suggest that something or someone on the moon shot at the approaching object, causing it to explode before making contact. What do you think this could be? You don't always see an ape stare at a human like this. Perhaps it's not one you ever imagined or thought of, but there it is. What do you think is going on in the mind of this ape as it stares strangely at the reporter? Is it harboring good thoughts or perhaps something a bit more ominous? Judging solely by its facial expression, one might indeed feel a touch of trepidation. The eyes, after all, are known to be windows to the soul, or in this case, to the thoughts within. As for its current circumstances, being taken out of its natural habitat and confined to a makeshift home, one could imagine that this fellow might harbor some rather strong opinions about the matter. The desire for freedom, perhaps, or the wish to retire from the life of the zoo. It's a poignant reminder of the complexities involved in keeping wildlife in captivity. A day of carefree fun turned into a spine-tingling moment of fear for this group of kids. As they frolicked on a field with one of them recording the merriment, little did they know that an eerie surprise was creeping their way. Right there, on the horizon, a strange creature began to crawl towards them. The moment they caught sight of it, sheer terror gripped their heart and their joyful shouts turned into panic screams. It's a reaction that's palpable even through the screen. Now, when we zoom in on the footage, the question lingers. What in the world could that be? Skeptics have offered their 2 cents, suggesting it might be a hoax, especially because the dog in the video appears strangely unfazed by the creature. After all, dogs tend to be quite vigilant and reactive in such situations. But here lies the enigma. Was this merely a group of kids playing an elaborate prank, or did they unwittingly capture genuine footage of something truly bizarre? Tell us what you think. Next, we've got a banana lying on a table. A hand reaches out to it, and this is what happens. The banana begins to pulsate as if it's alive. This is one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen involving food. What could be going on here? Several theories came to mind. Some suggest it might be an elaborate prank or special effects trickery designed to shock and disturb viewers. Others speculate that the banana could be infested with some sort of parasitic organism or insect larvae, causing it to move in such a creepy manner. There are also those who believe it could be a cleverly edited video using CGI to create the pulsating effects. What do you think could be the reason behind this pulsating banana? The nighttime seems to be the best time for all sorts of weird things to happen and for strange things to emerge. Someone captured intriguing footage while walking by the woods after feeling like something was watching them from the trees. When they turned, they saw a pair of glowing eyes at the tree line, intently observing them. In the dark, the outline of the creature became somewhat visible, revealing what looked like eyes and an obvious snout. It was difficult to determine if that was the entirety of the creature's body or if there was more hidden in the shadows. When this footage was posted online, it sparked a debate with people having different opinions about the identity of the creature. One group leaned towards more familiar animals such as gators, dogs, coyotes, donkeys, and pigs. However, others suggested a more paranormal explanation, noting the eerie vibe the creature exuded. Some speculated it might be a hellhound, while another person humorously suggested it was a Pikachu, and yet another believed it could be a djinn. What do you think about this mysterious encounter? Is it a familiar creature, or do you lean towards a more supernatural explanation? In this video clip, an unidentified individual armed with a camera descends the staircase, capturing a dark figure seated in an armchair. The living room is made up of a television on its stand and a few armchairs. As the recorder moves closer, the dark shadow figure suddenly stands up, walks forward without turning, and then vanishes into thin air, revealing a dark humanoid figure resembling a female. The individual filming searches for the intruding presence, moving the camera around and exploring other parts of the house, but finds nothing. What do you think that presence was, and do you think there is a possible reason it was there? Tell us in the comments section. Oh, the allure of venturing into the woods when the night has fallen, a choice that's not for the faint of heart. This time, our tale takes us to a gentleman who had an unexpected encounter with a dark and mysterious figure deep within the forest. Now, let me preface this by saying that I wouldn't be out in the woods at that hour. And if I were, the moment I laid eyes on this particular figure, I'd likely be sprinting in the opposite direction. Why, you ask? Well, because this footage, my friends, is the stuff that sends shivers down your spine. In the eerie glow of the night, there it is, a creature perched behind a tree, obscured by the inky blackness of its fur. It's an image that unmistakably brings to mind the legendary Bigfoot, an enigma that continues to baffle and fascinate us. Indeed, it's a truly strange sight that's capable of upsetting anyone. Take a second look at the whole thing. Do you think we're dealing with Bigfoot or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Wendy Wilson, a keen explorer and photographer, shared some fascinating pictures of a Bigfoot she encountered. The images, although blurry, introduce to us an ape-like creature. It appears to be hiding behind something metallic, and looking at the trail camera, naturally, this has Bigfoot enthusiasts excited, and I can understand why. Every potential picture of the big guy brings us close to locating him and solving the mystery surrounding him. Although the location hasn't been revealed, many were excited to see this. There were those who were naturally skeptical, not because they didn't necessarily think Bigfoot was real, but because this image was supposedly taken by a professional photographer. They argued that such a person should have powerful lenses and capable editing software to make the image visible, but that's not the case here. This makes them think the image might be one of those recycled ones from the internet. But do tell us what you think in the comments section, as we'd love to hear your take. The sight that the truck driver captured on camera in Richmond, Virginia is truly breathtaking. The tunnel of clouds in the sky appears to be set ablaze by an intense orange glow, creating a mesmerizing spectacle that's not commonly seen. The truck driver was so captivated by the sight that he stopped his vehicle and got out to film it. Once this hit the internet, many theories came up, with some believing it was the sign of a bad omen. There were some like this user who even thought that it had to be weaponized clouds. I mean, if it were your first time seeing something like this, there's a high probability that you might think the same. There were some also who thought it was a beautiful sight. I can see why these individuals think that. I did some research and realized that this is likely a type of cloud often referred to as a roll cloud. For those unfamiliar with them, roll clouds are formed when a cold air mass meets a warm front and creates a horizontal cylinder of air. As the cylinder of air moves forward, it creates a rolling effect, hence the name roll cloud. These clouds are typically found in coastal areas and are often associated with thunderstorms, although they're not themselves storm clouds. In this case, it's possible that the roll cloud was illuminated by the setting sun, creating the orange glow seen in the footage. The combination of the rolling effect and the fiery coloration makes for a truly stunning natural display that is sure to leave any viewer in awe. I returned to the comments section of the post and found comments like these affirming the hypothesis. Interesting, don't you think? Here we have a peculiar reptilian creature emerging from the depths of a river, although calling it a traditional reptile seems a tad too simplistic. Take a closer look at this alligator-like beast and you'll notice some distinct oddities. Its tail, for instance, is exceptionally thick and its front end appears significantly shorter than the rear. This unusual gator seems to be moving horizontally, propelled by the sheer power of the robust tail. Indeed, it's a sight that's both strange and, dare I say, a tad freaky. Could this be a mere quirk of nature, a defect in an otherwise familiar species like the alligator, or might we be witnessing the emergence of an entirely new and intriguing creature, as yet undiscovered by science? The natural world never ceases to amaze us, and this is just one more piece in the grand puzzle of our planet's biodiversity. This image has been a mystery ever since it surfaced on the internet. At first glance, we see a dug-up hole, a rather mundane sight, but it's what lies beyond that piques our curiosity. Further down the frame, there's a peculiar blurry figure. Now, the intrigue deepens. It could be one of two things: a swift culprit fleeing the scene, hence the blurriness, or it might just be something altogether different, an enigmatic entity, if you will. The possibilities here are as varied as they are puzzling. Is it a creature making a quick escape from its excavation project, leaving behind a tantalizing blur? Or could it be the ethereal form of something beyond our earthly comprehension? You tell us. In this video footage, someone can be seen cutting a tree branch, which causes it to bleed. The concept of bleeding trees is a fascinating aspect of folklore and mythology that can be found in various cultures around the world. For some cultures, these trees are sacred and believed to possess spiritual powers or serve as places for religious rituals. Many people view the bleeding as messages from gods or spirits, conveying warnings or guidance. In contrast, other stories link bleeding trees to tragedies or divine punishments. There are even legends that mention individuals cursed by the gods whose actions have an effect on nature, aka cause these trees to bleed as a consequence of their wrongdoing. There are some cultures who also believe that it's a sign of miraculous healing or fertility. According to some legends, contact with the bleeding sap of these trees can cure illnesses or grant fertility, among other things. While the idea of bleeding trees may seem mystical, in the modern age an explanation has been discovered. The bleeding tree shown in the video is a bloodwood tree, scientifically known as Pterocarpus angolensis. This type of tree is native to southern Africa and can be found in countries such as Angola, Namibia, and Botswana. The tree gets its name from the unique reddish sap which resembles blood. The bloodwood tree is prized for its strong, durable wood, which is used for making furniture, building, and traditional medicine. The bleeding that occurs is the natural fluid that the tree produces, and not actual blood. That's a relief, huh? Fire is a phenomenon that has both positive and negative effects. While it can be destructive, it is necessary for several reasons, such as cooking, heating, and even providing light. There are, however, some strange occurrences associated with fire that can be difficult to explain. One such occurrence is the fire whirl, also known as a fire tornado or fire devil. A fire whirl is a spinning column of flames that forms during a fire, often in wildfires or large fires when hot air rises rapidly, creating a spinning motion. These whirlwinds can be small or large, resembling tornadoes. In an intriguing incident captured on video, a tornado of fire can be seen forming at the center of burning garbage. This whirlwind of flames is a fascinating sight to behold, despite its destructive nature. When it comes to wildfires, fire whirls can become more dangerous, causing severe damage to anything in their path. Another strange incident captured on camera was the sight of tubes of fire moving through a forest fire, making it appear as though the fire was walking. However, this is a common phenomenon that occurs during a forest fire. In this next clip, however, a clump of fire in someone's hallway flies upwards and downwards, seemingly almost possessed. This I would consider more of a paranormal situation. What do you think? Imagine being at home and expecting a lightning strike based on how the weather has been in the last few hours or days, and then seeing something like this. Looks like a spell cast by a witch or warlock, right? Or am I the only one thinking that? Anyway, I did some little reading around and discovered that this couldn't be further from the truth. It turns out that this is called ball lightning. If you're like me, who was confused when I came across it, a ball lightning is a rare and mysterious atmospheric phenomenon typically observed during thunderstorms. It appears as a glowing spherical object, often ranging in size from a few centimeters to several meters in diameter, and can last from a few seconds to a few minutes. The glowing ball may move erratically, hover, or even pass through solid objects, sometimes accompanied by hissing or crackling sounds. Despite being reported for centuries, ball lightning is still not fully understood, and its exact cause remains a topic of scientific debate. Several theories have been proposed to explain ball lightning, including the idea that it could be a type of plasma, a result of chemical reactions in the atmosphere, or related to electromagnetic fields generated by lightning. Another theory suggests that microwaves created by lightning might form a stable, glowing sphere. Due to its unpredictability and the difficulty of studying it directly, ball lightning continues to be an elusive and intriguing subject in atmospheric science. But what if science is wrong and there's actually someone casting spells? You know what? Never mind me. Let's move on to the next clip. A group of friends was hanging out near the woods one night when one of them, named Matthew, went into the trees to take a quick bathroom break. After some time passed, they expected him to return, but instead, something else emerged from the darkness.
Something is attacking police because if this is not fucking your phone. Call the cops on your phone.
There's someone talking right
What the hell is he doing? That's not Matthew. That's not Matthew. That's not Matthew. I know.
As they waited, nervously watching at the edge of the woods, a figure slowly appeared. The night was thick with mist, making it hard to see clearly, but the figure didn't move like Matthew. They couldn't tell who or what it was, but it definitely wasn't acting like their friend. The figure stood there, shrouded in darkness, its presence unsettling. Then, without warning, it raised its hands up and didn't move any closer. The friends, still recording with their phones, kept their distance, unsure whether to approach or run. So what or who could that have been? They didn't say and only uploaded the clip. So what do you think? Was it someone playing a prank, or could it have been something far more eerie lurking in the woods that night?
Because if this is not fucking your phone. Call the cops on your phone.
There's someone talking right
What the hell is he doing? That's not Matthew. That's not Matthew. That's not Matthew.
This next footage was sent in by a subscriber. They were snooping around Antarctica on a map, zooming in when they came across this chilling image. It appears to be the giant skeletal head of a monster floating on the water with the rest of its body submerged. The creature's mouth is slightly open, revealing razor-sharp teeth. The sight is both eerie and fascinating, leaving much to the imagination. Antarctica is a place widely believed to hold many secrets shrouded in mystery and largely unexplored. Are we perhaps looking at one of those secrets? This creature certainly doesn't look like something you'd want to pet or take home as a catch for dinner. And since it's an image, we can't be sure if it's dead or alive. What do you think this could be? Let's take a look at this next footage. A man was walking home alone one night when he noticed something eerie. An object was floating a few inches above the ground right by a nearby wall. What makes this even more unsettling is that the object wasn't lightweight, nor was there any wind blowing. To make matters worse, it moved at a hauntingly slow speed as if something unseen was dragging it. It seemed to be following the man. He was understandably spooked by this encounter. One thing is for sure, this might be the last time he walks home alone at night. Anyway, do you think this was a wraith? What do you think was going on here? Share your thoughts below.
Okay, stop.
Am I crazy? That is not a sun. Look at it. I can't zoom anymore. But look at this. This is not the sun.
When the sun is setting, we usually see a beautiful display of golden orange and yellow hues. But why does the sun look this way? A woman was out driving during sunset and captured an image of the sun that showed these incredible colors. This image is particularly striking because the sun appears red or pinkish, creating a surreal and stunning view. The science behind this phenomenon is quite interesting. As the sun sets, its light has to pass through more of the Earth's atmosphere compared to when it's overhead. The atmosphere acts like a filter, scattering shorter wavelengths of light, blue and violet, and allowing the longer wavelengths, red, orange, and yellow, to dominate. This scattering effect is known as the Rayleigh scattering. Additionally, particles in the atmosphere such as dust, pollution, and water droplets can further scatter and filter the sunlight, enhancing these vibrant colors. This is why the exact hues can vary depending on the weather, air quality, and other environmental factors. So while the sun might look red or pink in this particular image, it's all due to the fascinating interplay of light and the Earth's atmosphere. At least, that's what the science says. What do you guys think?
That is not a sun. Look at it. I can't zoom anymore. But look at this. This is not the sun. I am 41 years old. I have never seen the sun look like this. Am I crazy?
Dude, that thing is big, whatever it is.
A man and his family decided to spend a weekend camping in the woods, eager to enjoy some quality time together. The first day was full of fun and adventure, and as night fell, they began preparing to settle in and sleep. But just as they were about to drift off, they were startled by strange, unsettling sounds echoing through the woods. It was loud, almost like a howl or a deep growl, and it went on for what felt like an eternity. The man, sensing that something wasn't right, quickly gathered his family, urging them to the car as fast as they could. Some who've seen the footage are convinced that what they heard was the call of a wolfman, while others believe it could have been a Bigfoot lurking in the shadows. But what do you think? Could it be one of these cryptids, or was it something else entirely?
Dude, that thing is big, whatever it is.
I've come across conversations about frequencies and how essential and influential they can be, specifically how certain frequencies in music we listen to can affect our mood and overall well-being. Recently, I discovered some intriguing information about a particular frequency known as the miracle tone or love frequency, which is at 528 Hz. According to proponents of this frequency, when it's played, it can reconstruct human DNA and repair it to a perfect state. This process is believed to provide clarity of mind, inner peace, and even physical healing. These types of frequency tones or music are called healing tones. The 528 Hz frequency in particular is often referred to as the DNA repair frequency. It is said to resonate at the core of everything that connects to our heart, spiritual essence, and divine harmonica. Some people believe that listening to music tuned to this frequency can help promote healing and transformation on a cellular level. Is this accurate and legitimate? Well, it's hard to say. Different frequencies are associated with different perceived tones and pitches when heard by humans. There is some scientific evidence that certain sound frequencies can influence brainwave activity and have psychological emotional effects when listened to. However, many of the specific claims made about the impact of individual frequencies like 528 Hz on biological processes like DNA repair are controversial and not universally accepted by mainstream science. Would you give it a try? Considering all the weirdness and stress in the world, this might be a simple yet powerful way to enhance our well-being and find some much-needed peace, or a complete waste of time. Who knows? Take a look at this footage, captured in the middle of the woods by a late-night adventurer. On the forest floor lay a grotesque creature. It lay still with its arms crossed over its chest. The creature was pale, with long white hair cascading from its head and a single long horn protruding from its forehead. It appeared lifeless on the ground. The creature resembles something out of a dark fairy tale or a mythological cryptid. However, when the footage was posted, many people in our paranormal communities were skeptical, suggesting it was just a costume rather than a genuine cryptid. What do you think? Personally, I can understand why they think that, since this is one of the least convincing cryptids we've ever featured on this channel. But what are your thoughts? Is this an actual encounter with an unknown creature, or is it just an expertly crafted prop meant to deceive? You tell me.
We only have one Dyson V7 in the house. All the other ones are the newer ones. Like, this is the only older one we have, and that's why it's upstairs. Why do we now have two?
This woman steps out of a bathroom to find her vacuum lying on the floor. Nothing unusual until she picks it up and walks to the charger, only to discover another identical vacuum already there. What makes this even weirder is that they supposedly only have one vacuum, with just a single charger in the house. So where did the extra one come from? Did it just appear out of thin air, or is this some kind of glitch in the Matrix?
Why do we now have two? And one charger.
Our next clip comes from Maryland from a woman called Natasha.
What are these? Hold on, there's more. Look at these. What the heck?
She woke up one night to see these prints on her window. They did look like paw prints, but she didn't live near the countryside. No, she lived in a populated area where they wouldn't expect wild animals to make such prints on her window. What's more, the prints were large, which offset her a bit. Given the fact that it was morning, she mustered the courage to step out of the door, and when she did, she realized there were more prints waiting for her outside. On second thought, not sure those looked more like scratches than they do prints. It looked like wherever had left those paw prints on her window had also left scratches on the concrete. She uploaded these looking for answers. Naturally, once these were on the internet, they went viral. Some expressed concern for her, whereas some others were skeptical. Not to necessarily say she was lying, but the facts did not add up. First, some of the scratches in the concrete had 3 claw marks, whereas others had 4 and 5. Secondly, the marks were inconsistent in shape and size. This led to conclude that the marks had been made by a human. But why? 2 things. Someone is messing with Natasha, or Natasha made it all up for her 5 minutes of fame. It's a bit dicey since we don't have all the facts, but we can't take a stand. Some in the community, however, insisted that it's got to be real. You've seen the clip. What do you also think?
What are these? Hold on, there's more. Look at these. What the heck?
Next, we've got this clip from Maine where individuals are reporting hearing strange sounds. Listen. Do you hear it? Now, the people who live allegedly don't know what's making the sounds. Personally, this isn't my forte, and we have no means to verify if this was digitally added or if it's genuine, but some members of the community believe it is. There are many who think it may be trumpets or harps that may have spiritual significance, whereas others think it's nothing more than machines, perhaps a train at work. There are some who also think it may be pointing to a secret base. The skeptical ones are there as well, but let's hear your thoughts on this one. Maine. Man, that's the home of Stephen King, so let's be honest, anything might be possible. This dad was in the kids' playroom arranging the toys when something unusual happened. As he was picking stuff up from the ground, a silent voice whispered his name, Mike. He freaked out and ran up the stairs. We have very little information regarding whether the house is haunted or if they have recently lost a family member. In situations like this, it could be either a haunted house or the presence of a recently deceased close family member, but we don't have any such information here. In the video, there was a dog by the doorway and a cat inside with him. The dog didn't seem to have any idea what was going on, but the cat suddenly appeared from the corner of the room coming into view of the camera. It looked very ready to run. Weird, I know, but can you tap into your inner Sherlock Holmes and tell us what is going on here?
You didn't know that you didn't know, part 9. 75% of the mass of a human brain is made up of a substance called myelin. And myelin is made up 100% by cholesterol. Margarine was first invented in 1869, and it didn't gain popularity until the Second World War, when butter and other animal fats were scarce. It grew in popularity in the 50s. Alzheimer's never existed until 1979, and yet now it is one of the leading causes of death in Western societies.
The man you see on your screen is making a strong case about margarine, and I think he may be onto something. He starts off with the brain. About 75% of its mass is made up of myelin, a fatty substance critical for insulating nerve fibers and ensuring smooth communication within the nerve system. And guess what? Cholesterol is a key component of myelin. Your brain needs healthy fats like those found in natural animal products, say butter, to function properly. Now enter margarine, a man-made alternative to butter that gained traction during the mid-20th century, especially after World War II when animal fats were in short supply. If you didn't already know, margarine is made from processed vegetable oils, often hydrogenated, turning them into trans fats. Unlike natural fats, trans fats can disrupt cellular processes and have been linked to numerous health problems, including cognitive decline. Here's the twist. Alzheimer's disease, a condition associated with the degeneration of the brain's myelin and neurons, was almost unheard of before the 1960s. Could it be a coincidence that its rise parallels the widespread adoption of margarine and the decline in natural fat consumption? Or are we looking at the unintended consequences of replacing natural fats with artificial ones? If you're not convinced, here's a little experiment. Place 3 items in your garden: a slab of butter, a piece of margarine made without animal fats, and a piece of plastic. Over time, you'll notice that nature embraces butter. It decomposes, is eaten by insects, or is absorbed into the soil. But margarine and plastic, they are ignored. Even microorganisms won't touch margarine, suggesting it's unnatural to them as plastic. Could margarine, with its processed ingredients and inability to integrate with nature, be doing the same in our bodies? By replacing natural fats with an artificial substitute, are we inadvertently starving our brains of the cholesterol it desperately needs? Did the creators of margarine know this? Are they trying to slowly kill us or cause a decline in cognitive ability? I'll let you decide that.
Alzheimer's never existed until 1979, and yet now it is one of the leading causes of death in Western societies.
What the is that? Nah. Y'all see that though, right? I know I ain't tripping, bro.
A man was out one night when he spotted something extraordinary, a group of glowing orbs in the clouds. These mysterious lights weren't just hovering, they were moving in different formations, almost like they were dancing across the night sky. This was not the work of fireworks, fireflies, or even drones. The movements were too coordinated, too deliberate, and far too strange to be easily explained by conventional means. So what are they? Could this be another sighting of UFOs, silently observing and maneuvering above us? Or is there another explanation for these eerie glowing formations?
What the is that? Nah. Y'all see that though, right? I know I ain't tripping, bro.
This fascinating video was shared by a woman who resides in Nashville, Tennessee. While driving home one evening, she noticed a remarkable sight in the sky that captured her attention. It was a striking pillar of light, tall and bright, that seemed to pierce through the darkness. The colors emitted by the light exhibited a warm glow, primarily in shades of orange and reddish hues, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that felt almost surreal. Many viewers may be quick to assume that such an extraordinary phenomenon is of extraterrestrial origin, but there is no need for concern. This is not an encounter with aliens. What she witnessed is actually a natural weather phenomenon known as light pillars. These captivating pillars occur under specific atmospheric conditions, typically when there are cold temperatures and ice crystals present in the atmosphere. When light from the sun or other sources reflects off these ice crystals, it creates the stunning visual effects of vertical shafts of light in the sky. The interplay of light and ice can produce breathtaking displays, making light pillars one of the remarkable wonders of nature.
There he is, in the window again.
A man walked into his bedroom and noticed something strange behind the curtains at the window. Sensing something unusual, he started filming as he approached the window. Suddenly, a dark figure leapt from behind the curtains onto the bed and then disappeared under it. The man searched under the bed but found nothing there. Upon closer inspection of the footage, the figure doesn't appear to be tangible. It's more like a dark, shadowy mass or an entity. Now here's where it gets even creepier. The house has a chilling history. The homeowner, a man named Kent, revealed that this house used to be a funeral home. Yeah, you heard that right, a funeral home. Ken has been documenting his unsettling experiences throughout the house, and this is just one of the many eerie moments he captured. With all these in mind, is he someone you would want to spend a weekend with? Now there's a thought.
There he is, in the window again.
I was one of those kids that said math was stupid.
His passion for it came unexpectedly, brutally even, after a mugging 8 years ago in Tacoma.
Allow me to introduce you to a truly fascinating individual named Jason Paget. Jason's life took an extraordinary turn after a traumatic incident. He was severely beaten and left with a serious concussion. But when he woke up the next day, something remarkable had happened.
Suddenly, I'm able to basically process more information geometrically, whereas before I couldn't. Before this, I could not draw anything. In fact, it was a joke in our family about Pictionary, how I was the worst at Pictionary.
He had gained an extraordinary gift. Jason found himself able to visualize complex mathematical concepts and patterns, something he'd never been able to do before. This condition is known as savant syndrome, a rare and enigmatic phenomenon in which individuals develop exceptional abilities, often in art, mathematics, or memory, following brain trauma or other neurological changes. What's even more astounding is how rare this condition is, with only about 50 documented cases worldwide. Jason's newfound talent has allowed him to create intricate, mathematically inspired drawings and explore the mysteries of the universe in ways he never imagined. Jason must be lucky. Not everyone takes a blow to the head and comes back smart.
I was one of those kids that said math was stupid.
His passion for it came unexpectedly, brutally even, after a mugging 8 years ago in Tacoma.
Anyone who has been an avid follower of this channel knows how much we talk about the Appalachian Mountains. It's therefore no surprise that we were alerted when this was uploaded online. Listen.
What the f***? Get me out of here.
Did you hear that? Maybe it's just me and the city life I'm used to, but that definitely does not sound normal. It sounds like a large beast, but what kind? Nocturnal animals I know sound like that. Many shared this sentiment, which led to the conclusion that it might be Bigfoot. While I want us to run with that, I also realize that it could be me and my team being biased as Bigfoot enthusiasts. You heard the audio and watched the clip as well. What do you think we're dealing with here?
What the f? Get me out of here.
This video was recorded on December the 27th, 2024 during a local football game in Palos Verdes, California. While the game was in progress, a member of the audience noticed a peculiar sight in the sky. The strange, glowing object was hovering above the field and ended up attracting attention. As the footage continued, we saw a four-legged creature rising toward the mysterious object. The animal appeared to have the same characteristics as a big cat. The sight of this creature moving toward the glowing object left everyone in the attendance stunned and bewildered. Many people are speculating that they witnessed a UFO incident involving the abduction of an animal in real life. This thought prompted a flurry of conversation and theories about what could be happening. On the other hand, skeptics argued that the phenomenon could just be a drone projecting an image or a light show. Given the extraordinary nature of the event, no one knows for sure. What do you think this phenomenon truly is? Alcohol consumption is more popular now than ever, but how often do we actually stop to think about what goes into making it? Turns out, there's a pretty alarming detail most people don't know about. We tend to assume alcohol is closely regulated by health authorities like the FDA, but it's not. Instead, it falls under the watch of the TTB, the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, and that makes a huge difference. Because the TTB isn't a health-focused agency, alcohol companies aren't required to list their ingredients. No labels, no breakdowns, and no real transparency. That means they can include just about anything: chemical sweeteners, industrial solvents, pesticide residue, and we'd never know. Researchers looking into cheaper mass-produced alcohols have found traces of all kinds of harmful compounds used to cut corners and boost profit. So while we're sleeping on something we think is just a fun drink, we might actually be downing a cocktail of hidden toxins. So now, the real question is, how much of what we are drinking is actually alcohol, and how much is stuff we're never meant to consume? This is all a question, I guess, I'll never really have answers to, especially because, personally, I'm an alcoholic and have been sober for 20 years. And with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Oh yeah, before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have.
Share this with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.